Good morning, everyone. Welcome to an all-new On the Mark TV and radio from Westfield Community Programming, 89.5 FM WSKB, and our media partners at Agawam Media and Southwick Community Television. I'm your host, Mark Auerbach, and today we're going south of the border to Bradley International Airport with Alisa Sisac, who is one of my favorite guests. She shows up here maybe every 6 months to talk about what's going on at Bradley International Airport. And those of you that fly frequently know about most of the amenities at the airport. Some of you that fly less frequently might be surprised to know that within the last couple of years, there have been multiple changes at Bradley, from the opening of a parking garage with rental car facilities there, to new airline service, to some refreshed stores and restaurants on the air side. So listen, it's great to see you.
It's so good to be with you, and I love coming on your show to give an airport update and to share all the great things we've been up to.
Well, you know, one of the things I've noticed, and I actually found this out on my Facebook feed, there is a discount airline called, I shouldn't say discount airline, but a low-cost carrier called Breeze that came to Bradley a while ago. That's actually the last time we chatted. And now a second one called Avelo is going to begin service next month. And people that know the airline industry say that Avelo revitalized some of the lesser-known airports before it spread its wings, so to speak. And Tweed-New Haven Airport in New Haven had no airline service for a while, and Avelo opened a base there and, had flights to Florida and the Carolinas and all over the map, and has really revitalized New Haven. And now they're coming up to Bradley to offer a similar program, which makes it great for those of us in Western Mass and Northern Connecticut that can't afford to drive to New Haven.
Yeah, you're correct. This November, we will be welcoming Avelo Airlines here to Bradley International Airport. Breeze, as you know, has been operated now for over 3 years here, providing low-cost fares to our passengers. And this is really great news, like you said, to everybody traveling out of the airport, because it means that we're expanding the roster of our airlines. So at the end of the day, currently our passengers have an opportunity to choose from 12 different carriers, including 4 low-cost airlines, which means that, with the added flights and the added airlines, where there's more competition amongst the airlines, and at the end of the day, that means that the fares will be more reasonable for our passengers.
Have you noticed since Breeze came and Southwest that the fares have dropped prior to the time before we had low-cost carriers?
So I think all of our low-cost carriers, it's a dynamic market when it comes to airfare, right? So they'll watch closely what the demand is here at the airport. Currently, we offer nonstops to more than 45 destinations. Again, giving our passengers more options to choose from. This is probably the most nonstops we've had in a very long time. If you look over the last 10 years, the nonstops have increased by 50%. So in addition to all the domestic routes that we offer, we now have accessibility to Europe. As you know, we have access to Canada, and starting in November with the launch of Avelo service, we will also be going into Jamaica and Cancun.
So the opportunities have increased a lot. I know during the pandemic, a lot of flights were canceled and schedules rearranged. Is Bradley back to pre-pandemic levels, or has it exceeded them?
So we're about where we were pre-pandemic at this time. We had a busy summer, and we're hoping the momentum will continue as we move towards the holidays.
Now, one of the things that I saw at Bradley that I think is absolutely fantastic, because I'm an arts reporter primarily, is the fact that Bradley has made a commitment to local musicians and local artists to put art in the terminal building, and you have some murals. And Pete Coles, if you could show the photo of some of the murals that are at Bradley now that are created. Alisa, when did you make the commitment to the local arts community to begin showcasing their works?
Well, I think I'm glad you bring this up because it's really a program that we're very proud of to have kicked off the ground. As you know, passengers, when they travel through the airport, they're looking nowadays for an experience, right? It's not just taking a person from point A to point B. And, at Bradley International Airport, we want to create a convenient atmosphere for our passengers. And one of the things that we look into is as well, how can we make it more reflective of the region, right? So we've partnered with local artists to bring this program to life, which launched officially over the summer. And we were fortunate to partner with a very well-known organization called Rise Up, and their expertise is in the creation of large size murals in public art spaces. And we're so fortunate to have partnered with five of the artists to bring these murals to life here at the airport. And you bring up the other element of our program is to bring more music to the terminal. So I'm excited to share that we currently have almost daily performances featuring local artists. And all of that together just helps, create a sense of place and just reinforces the idea of, the convenience and relaxing atmosphere that we provide to our passengers when they travel.
Will these murals be permanent or will they change with different artists every so often?
So I think at this time we have them here. We will have them here for a while, but naturally, as the airport continues to evolve, we could see some changes, and also the art program could evolve, to other forms of art. So stay tuned on that.
Yeah, I know that you wander through the terminal a lot because it's part of your job to market it. Do people come up to you and thank you or express interest in the fact that you're doing the arts programs in the terminal building?
That's a really good question. So, yes, always love walking through a terminal and seeing, how our passengers experience some of the changes that we've been up to. I think when we initially announced the launch of the program, we received some really wonderful comments on social media, and that's usually a good sign of, how people respond to the changes you make.
Yeah, that's terrific. And I know that you've got a couple of new retailers and refreshed retailers. And Pete, there's another slide there that you can show. What are some of the new things that people will experience at Bradley in the next couple of months?
Yeah, I mean, a lot of changes, as you mentioned earlier here at the airport. I mean, looking at it, from growing our nonstops to bettering the customer experience and shops and dining is one of those important elements for the passenger journey. And what you're looking here is the opening of Connecticut River Landing. It's a shop that just recently reopened under a refresh brand. We also opened up a new a dining option called Sam Adams Pre-Security, as well as Beer Code Kitchen and Bar. We're excited about these changes because, as you can imagine, dining and retail is very important to passengers. And with all of these, we're trying to make a more modern environment, but also, just staying true to the location that we are and to help create a sense of place. Hence, the renaming of the store to Connecticut River Landing.
Are these locally owned stores or are they part of a chain?
So the way it usually works at airports, you partner with what we call a master concessionaire. So that means that they help provide concepts that we work with them together on rolling out at the airport. So in most instances, it's not independently owned establishments, but it is something that falls under an umbrella of concessionaires.
Yeah, because you have a lot of shopping and restaurant options in the terminal now. There used to be a premium lounge. Did that disappear during the pandemic or is it still there?
It's still there and it's still very popular. In fact, we hope that its size will expand because it's been so well received by our passenger base.
How many passengers use Bradley in the course of a year? Do you have any numbers on that?
So prior to COVID, we've had about 6.7 million passengers, and I think we're well on track to reach those numbers again. So every day you have tens of thousands of people traveling here to throughout the airport, and naturally we always look for ways to improve their experience.
Is there any talk in the future of expanding the terminal?
Yes, so that's something that's always on our mind as to how do we maximize the use of the existing terminal and how do we find ways to allow for increase in passengers. For example, right now we have two big projects that are underway. One of them will slightly expand the terminal on each side of the terminal by the creation of two new exit lanes, which means that if you have traveled here through the airport, you will no longer be exiting in the middle of the terminal. You will be able to access the baggage claim straight from the concourses. So that will certainly be a major customer service improvement because it will improve the passenger flow in the terminal and will ease some of the crowding that you may see in the main lobby area after the TSA screening. That's a major project that's will be done by the end of next year, we hope, and again, will help with the airport's growth.
How many people approximately work at Bradley? Do you have a number on that?
So we have over 5,000 individuals that work or are badged here at the airport. That includes airline partners, support, ground handling, and as well as contractors. So it's truly a village that makes the everyday success here at the airport possible.
I know that Bradley is the second largest commercial airport in New England after Boston Logan. Where does Bradley stand in terms of the country? Do you have any idea what number it might be in the ranking of busiest to least busy?
That's a really good question, and certainly it's something I can look into and find out for you. We're considered a medium-sized airport, and as you mentioned, by passenger numbers, we are the second largest here in New England after Logan.
Now, have all of the pre-pandemic flights returned at this point? Or I know that there was international service to Dublin and Montreal and Toronto. Have they all come back?
Yes, so we're very happy to have the Dublin service back. And just a reminder to your listeners that Bradley International Airport has service on Aer Lingus to Dublin, and you can connect to over 20 cities from Dublin on Aer Lingus. And the nice part about the service too is that on your return, you clear U.S. customs in Dublin. So that means when you come here to the airport, you just get off your gate and you can retrieve your luggage and you're on your way home. So that means you no longer have to take care of any of the formalities here at the airport. And it means in return that you're quicker home or where you may need to be. So it's a really great service that we're very proud of. And, I know there's a lot of Irish connections in our community. And so for those who are traveling for ancestry exploration reasons or leisure or business, it's truly a great and convenient service.
One of my colleagues just went to Paris on Aer Lingus and said, "Yeah, it's a seamless connection in Dublin. Dublin's not a huge airport, and coming back, you arrived, and you did your customs and immigration ahead of time." And he said once the plane landed at Bradley, he was in his car 15 minutes after the plane landed rather than standing in another long line to clear customs and immigration. So I think it's something that if you're traveling to Europe, I believe that Aer Lingus connects Bradley to several dozen major European destinations.
And that's right. And that's what we're trying to explain to anyone who's considering traveling overseas, that you no longer have to drive to the bigger airports in the area. And, there's a significant time saving and, again, a significant convenience when you're making, a significant trip. And why not try the Aer Lingus service out of Bradley International Airport?
I know that when Breeze arrived here, you arranged for me to interview somebody from Breeze. I think it was like a week or two before they began flying, or maybe within the first couple of weeks. And they now have a crew base here, which makes Bradley kind of unique. Do other airlines consider this a hub or a focus city besides Breeze?
Yeah, that's a really good question. We're very fortunate that Breeze selected us to set up a base here at the airport. It just means that, they have a commitment to this region, and that they're seeing the demand for the type of service that they offer. In fact, right now they offer more than 18 nonstops from the airport, taking you in all kinds of cities across the U.S. Naturally, when an airline establishes a base, it certainly puts us on the map. And we want to be on the national map, and to continue to demonstrate to all of our airline partners that, we're a great place to operate out of, which is, I think, why we've been seeing some success over the last few years in the growth of our nonstops, but also in how we've been diversifying our airlines. Again, which ultimately this is to the benefit of the traveling public.
Who is the largest carrier at Bradley in terms of number of flights a day?
So if you look, there's a couple of ways to look at it. When you look in terms of nonstops, who offers the most nonstops? Currently, it is Breeze. If you look at, who's offering the most, or who's serving the most passengers and flights, it's at the moment it's American Airlines, which is followed by Delta, Southwest, and JetBlue.
So that airport is busy 24 hours a day.
It's busy 24 hours a day, but we continue to be committed to our passengers, to make sure that independent of what time they're here at the airport, that they experience a good travel experience.
We're going to take a quick break to acknowledge the underwriters that make On the Mark possible. Before we do, what is the website for Bradley?
BradleyAirport.com. Very simple.
Okay, we're going to take a break to acknowledge our underwriters. Peter Coles is our chief engineer. I'm Mark Auerbach, and when we return, we'll be talking more with Alisa Sisac from Bradley International Airport, so don't go away.
Support for the community programming of WSKB is provided by the Dunkin' Donut Shops of Westfield and the Sardinia family. It's nice to know that even as the world changes, Dunkin' Coffee remains the same at 7 convenient locations throughout Westfield. Support for community radio on WSKB is provided by Betts Plumbing and Heating Supply Company, an independent, family-owned wholesaler serving Westfield for over 50 years, specializing in plumbing, heating, and industrial piping supplies. On the web at bettsplumbing.com or at 14 Coleman Avenue in Westfield.
Hi, this is Harry Rock, host of Rock on Westfield every fourth Wednesday at 8 a.m. Tune in for my view of this place I call home.
Community Radio
89.5 WSKB.
Live from Studio 120 at Westfield Technical Academy, this is WCPC Channel 15 and 89.5 FM, WSKB Westfield.
Welcome back to On the Mark, everyone. Peter Coles is our chief engineer. I'm Mark Auerbach. If you've missed a part of today's program, or you want to watch it again or share it with friends, it'll be archived on YouTube under WSKB Community Radio. My guest this half hour is Alisa Sisac from Bradley International Airport, which is just south of the border for those of you listening in Western Massachusetts, and right between Springfield and Hartford for those of you in Northern Connecticut that are listening or watching today. Alisa, in the long-term future of Bradley, what are some of the projects that you all will be working on or developing?
Yes, I mean, we're always looking to for ways to improve the airport. And airports like us, we have what we refer to as a master plan, and that kind of outlines what the projections for passenger traffic could look like, and also, what that means for our growth. So one of the projects, as mentioned earlier, is what we refer to here as the vertical circulation project. Again, this is the creation of two new exit lanes that will give easier and quicker access to passengers traveling from both of our concourses, and will free up also space at the TSA screening area to expand the whole TSA checkpoint. And then the second big project that we're currently working on is the inline baggage screening facility. So if you haven't been to the airport in a while, or if you're traveling soon, you may notice a big new building that's popped up right behind the Sheraton Hotel. And in essence, what's going to happen is the screening of the baggage will happen in that facility going forward. And you will leave your check bag with the ticket counter, and you will no longer have to carry it yourself to the current uh, explosive detection machines that are located in the lobby. So that'll be a major improvement. We're one of the few airports that have it currently set up the way it is. So in addition to freeing up a lot of space at the ticket counters for potential new airlines, and freeing it up just for more space, you will experience the convenience of not having to carry your luggage anymore. And naturally, it will also be, improving the security process in itself. And the building also will house and create three more gates, which again allows us further growth as we continue to expand with airlines.
That's terrific. Thanksgiving and the holiday season is up and coming, and that's one of the busiest travel times of the year. Assuming people buy their tickets in advance to travel at Thanksgiving or Christmas or the New Year's, what do you recommend to make their departure or their arrival as seamless as possible?
Yes, it's hard to believe that we're already starting to think of the holiday season. And, it's definitely been on our mind because, as you mentioned, it is a busy travel period. And again, we see a lot more people traveling in a more condensed time frame, starting with Thanksgiving. Certainly, we always encourage people to arrive early at the airport to allow themselves enough time for parking, the check-in, for the TSA screening. We encourage people to take advantage of mobile check-in with their airline if they can. Also to review TSA guidelines ahead of time, especially if you've not traveled in a while. And sometimes we see that to be the case for individuals who are traveling around the holidays. Sometimes, you forget the rules that you need to follow at the TSA and what you should bring and not bring. And the TSA these days has really great resources on their website, on social media, and you can certainly reach out to them ahead of time with questions. So I think if you take care of those three things, you're well positioned to be quickly on your way to your final destination at the airport.
I know you have plenty of parking, both on airport and off airport options for people. Is there public transportation to Bradley?
Yes, so we have something that's called a Hartford Flyer. So it's a bus that takes you right from our terminal to downtown Hartford. And then there's also a bus that connects you to Windsor Locks train station, which gives you an opportunity to travel, by train.
Okay, and for those of you that don't travel by train to Bradley, between Amtrak and CT Rail, you can pick up a train in Springfield and go right to Windsor Locks, which is much cheaper than parking at Bradley. And I don't know how often, I think the trains run a dozen times a day in each.
Yeah, it's definitely an alternative option for individuals who prefer to use public transportation. But even for those who want to park, like you mentioned, we have plenty of parking. We have covered parking, we have surface lot parking, and some surface lots are closer to the terminal than others, and they're priced in accordance to being competitive and include all the taxes and fees. So that's something we try to explain to our passengers that if you're parking here, there's no hidden fees. There's a flat fee that you pay for it. And again, you can choose from a variety of options, and some of them start as low as $7 a day, which is pretty compatible when you look at surrounding parking, or if you're considering parking at airports like JFK or Boston.
I know you probably have your favorites, but have to mention them all. If you want to get a good cup of coffee at Bradley, what are your options?
So we have great options. Have Dunkin' Donuts, or Dunkin' as they refer to themselves right now, in several spots at the airport. And then as of last year, we opened Starbucks, which was a big hit, with the traveling public, because that's something that we've had missing for a very long time. So that was very well received by our passenger base.
Did you get a summer vacation this year, and where did you fly to?
No summer vacation this year that involved flying. I was spending time locally and exploring all the sights and delights that our region offers.
So, is there a destination from Bradley that you think is going to be super popular this winter?
Well, certainly, given the conditions, the weather conditions in the winter months, everybody seems to, like to travel somewhere warm, which is why it's great that we have, great connectivity to all these, warmer destinations, and especially Florida. So currently, Bradley International Airport offers access to 10 cities in Florida on multiple airlines. So if you're looking to go somewhere south, we're the place to check out first.
And some of them are unique. I understand that Avelo is flying to Lakeland, Florida, which is a destination sort of in between Tampa and Orlando, and they're the only airline that fly to that particular airport.
You're correct. And that's something that both Avelo and Breeze, that's been part of their strategy to take people to maybe some of the lesser known airports, but also airports that offer, lesser crowding and more convenience. And you're right. So they will be flying into Lakeland, and they've been educating some of the traveling public as to the exact location they will be flying into. But I'm confident it will be well received given its proximity to other bigger cities in Florida, but also as a great destination on its own.
Yeah. Alisa, thanks for being here today. Before we go, tell people how they can learn more about Bradley, from website to social media.
Yes, we'd love to have you check us out on bradleyairport.com. We're also on Facebook, Twitter, or X, and we're also on Instagram. So we post regular updates on all channels, and that's the best place to learn of new routes, changes at the airport, improvements coming. So check us out.
Well, Alisa Sisac, thank you so much for being here today to chat about Bradley International Airport. I'll have you back on the program in a couple of months, and we can talk about what's new for summer of 2025.
I look forward to that.
That'll be great. We're going to take a break to acknowledge our underwriters, and we'll be back with more on the Mark. Peter Coles is our chief engineer. I'm Mark Auerbach. Don't go away.
Underwriting for Community Radio on WSKB is brought to you in part by Rockies. Over 30 convenient locations throughout Massachusetts, Rhode Island, New Hampshire, Connecticut, and Florida. One of the nation's largest ACE dealers. Expertise and great product selection in paint, hardware, lawn and garden. That's Rockies. Rock solid service since 1926. On the web at rockies.com.
I'm Mark Auerbach. Join me every Friday at 8 a.m. for ArtsBeat, where you'll meet interesting actors, directors, designers, and musicians here in Western New England.
Community Radio 89.5 WSKB.
Live from Studio 120 at Westfield Technical Academy, this is WCPC Channel 15 and 89.5 FM WSKB Westfield.
Welcome back to On the Mark, everyone. I'm Mark Auerbach. Peter Coles is our chief engineer. And this half hour, we get to chat with Bo Sullivan from the Boys and Girls Club of Westfield. Summer's over and school's back in session, Bo.
Yep.
What are some of the fall programs that you're going to be offering?
Oh, everything. We have what we call Kids Club. It's our licensed childcare. From preschool 2.9 all the way up through 12 years old are part of a licensed child care program. So there'll be a couple hundred kids running around doing that, divided up by grade, and they do everything from homework help to technology to swimming to outside on playgrounds. Everything will be done. And then we have our teen center also, which is everybody above that, above those grades. So basically middle school, high school, which is going to be a big part of it. So it's going to be a very, very busy school year, which is great.
I'm sure that there are a lot of parents that are worrying about how they can juggle their work careers with their kids. And is it too late for parents to get their kids involved?
Not at all. You can either go to our website, bgcwestfield.org, or call us and ask for Kelly Brown, who most people in this town know, but you can call 562-2301. It's easier just to go on the website and ask her, and she can set you up with however old the student is, all the way up, like I said, through high school. So, and we're open till 5:30 at night. You open up at 7:30 in the morning, 5:30 at night. So we certainly deal with work schedules from parents.
So is this school year different from last year?
Not really. No, it's on our end. It'll be more. There'll be more programs. The drama program that we have is taking off, which is great. So there'll be a couple shows that we're doing. So there's been some enhancements on some of the things we've done. But the full year with the pool going, which is great for us. There'll be more things to do there, and dance on the side, and there'll be basketball. We're rolling with pretty much everything. We'll tweak here and there, but the basics that go on every day are pretty much the same as they have been for the last couple of years.
And it's a great community resource, and it's been around for a long time.
1969. We're about this year will be 55 years.
Wow.
It just seems like we just had the 50th gala, it seems like, but that was the last thing before the world shut down with COVID. We had it on that February, it was leap year, February 29th, and everything shut down within the next couple of weeks. So, yeah, it was 5 years ago. So, yeah, 55 years.
Wow, time flies.
Time flies.
And in the time that you've been there, what kind of programs and services have you been able to expand beyond what the Boys and Girls Club was before?
The first one I think of is that drama program. We've had a drama program for years, but Devereaux, who runs it for us, who's also our education director, has really taken hold of this, and we're up to more than 60 for each of the performances we did last year. This year she's going to do 2. I know I can say it because I think she put it on Facebook. High School Musical Junior will be the first one we do. So tryouts are in the next couple weeks. So if you've got a kid out there that has always wanted to be on stage, or has thought about being on stage, or somebody thinks it'll be good for them, because it is everything: meeting friends, being in front of people, learning lines, singing, talking, whatever it is. You know better than anybody.
Yeah, one thing that's great about drama or theater programs or music programs is that it teaches kids to work in a group.
Yep.
And how to lead or how to be a part of an ensemble. It's a great life experience.
We get more letters and comments after a show has wrapped from parents who say, we never thought our kid would be able to do this. We're so glad he or she did, because it brought out somebody different in them, and the friendships they made, that the people that they would never meet. You'd never think you'd hang around with them ever in school or anything like that. They see each other on stage. They see each other a couple times a week, and they become fast friends. And then they do the next one. They do it again.
It's funny. When I was a child, I was in the musical Oliver.
Yep.
My mother pushed me into it. When I was a working actor, I was in Oliver. And about 5 years ago, I went to a production of it at Goodspeed down in Connecticut.
Yep.
And I ran into people that I knew, and they said, well, when I was in the 7th grade, I did Oliver. Or when I was in the 3rd grade, I did Oliver. And as a result of it, I appreciate the arts in my life. I go to the theater. I go to concerts and things. So to me, the idea that young people are learning theater and music is a great life skill.
I'm with you. I grew up in the theater with my dad, the Westfield Theater Group, really. My dad, since I was 3 years old, was on stage. My mom did the ticket booth. My dad was on stage, and then all the kids eventually, except for me, got on stage and had parts in some of the plays. So I think it's great. So every time I have to okay the show, because I have to sign the contracts, I want them to do My Fair Lady or something like that, but they're just not going to go back that far, Mark.
Well, I mean, I think for kids, My Fair Lady is a stretch, but there certainly is a lot of plays and musicals available, and now some of the shows like High School Musical do a junior edition.
That's what they all are, junior editions.
Which makes it more accessible for young people.
Yep. We did Willy Wonka Jr. They started Shrek. Unfortunately, they never got to perform it. That was right at the time of the pandemic.
So you know that they're doing High School Musical Junior. What's the other play?
I don't know, and I'm not sure she has even picked it yet. So I'm not even not telling you. I honestly don't know.
So we'll call it I Don't Know Junior.
I Don't Know Junior.
Yeah. When does that performance happen?
I believe the performance will be just before Thanksgiving. I think it's the weekend before Thanksgiving is when the show. We actually rent out the middle school. So we use their stage, and obviously the audience and can be bigger there than we could do anything in the club. But they'll start rehearsal, so they'll have a good 2 months worth of rehearsals to get ready for this. So
that's a kind of unique after-school program for kids. What are some of the others that are unique that you do that can't be found elsewhere?
Well, obviously dance can be found elsewhere, but we've got a robust dance program. Mallory, who's been doing it for years for us, has really taken this one over, and they go all over. They're in national competitions. They were at, I believe it was either the Mohegan or Foxwoods where the nationals were this year for her group, and they do a fantastic job. A lot of the dancers are also in the drama, so they've got stuff that's going on each weekday afternoon. But the swim team is coming back this year. Kayla, our aquatics director, is restarting the Rapids, our team. So we haven't had that team for quite a few years. It was actually a couple of years before COVID that we lost that team. But she's got enough interest that she's going to start it up again. So the pool will be used
That's fantastic.
every day. Yeah, it's great.
I mean, for a lot of these programs are free to the
Some of them are. There's small fees for some of them because we've got to pay, the licensing fee for High School Musical Junior. So there's a small fee for each of those, and the dance program has some too because there's costumes and there's travel and you got to book there's some small fees, but there's certainly not. And if somebody has a question on the fees, that's where Kelly and I get involved, and we make sure if somebody wants to be on the swim team, we'll make sure they're on the swim team.
With the expanded programs and the increased programs that you do, who pays for it?
Well, the licensed childcare is licensed through the state, so that big portion of it that runs every single school day is run through the state. We get so much money per student that's in our in the program. We have a license of 300, so we can get up to 300 students, which includes 60 preschool. We just added another preschool room. Back to your question about what's new, we added another 20 student preschool. So if somebody's got a preschool student out there 2.9 to 5 years old and you're looking for a preschool, give us a call because there's only a couple spots open. But we do have a couple openings. So that's a lot of it. We do a lot of grants. We obviously have a golf tournament. We do special events. There's a one campaign that we run that we call a one campaign. It's our annual campaign. We're starting up in the next couple weeks. So that will be another portion of what pays for it too.
As the head of a not-for-profit in Greater Westfield, what are the challenges that all the nonprofits in town face right now? It's
always funding. There's and if Andrea from the Y was sitting next to me, she'd tell you the same thing, I think, is that Westfield is very, very generous. They are. The donors that we have are with us, and she would say the same thing. They're great to us and do what they can. It's always expanding that base to get more people in and know what we do. It's always what it is. They know what, they know the logo of the Boys and Girls Club, the Knuckles as we call them. The recognition rate on that nationally, they said, was like 93%. They see the Knuckles, that's the Boys and Girls Club. Only 60% of the people know what actually happens inside the building. And that's the issue. That's where I have to do a better job, is to get people in there and talk like this and educate people about, we do all that. There's a gym and a swim is the old line with Boys and Girls Club. There's so much more. There's a whole technology room. I have 32 computers in a technology room. I have 7 3D printers. They're doing things every day. I've got a full studio. Pete put together my recording studio in the building. It's audio visual. We could run this program from my studio at the club. There's music lessons. There's a whole gaming room. My team director won a $30,000 grant for gaming. There's all sorts of computers and lights, and they play against other Boys and Girls Clubs, and they play people from all over the world, because how gaming works, which is above my level.
It's not part of my.
It's not mine either, but they love it. We feed everybody. There's a full commercial kitchen in there too. So if you need breakfast for the preschool, or you need a snack or dinner for after school, we feed everybody who comes through the door. So there's lots of things that go on in that building that some people just don't know about.
Where do you get the food? I had heard that you buy a lot of local.
We try to buy as much local as we can, especially the produce. We'll go to local farm stands and buy the produce right out of the building and pay for it that way. We do have trucks. Thurston, they were there when I left. So she's getting ready. Kim, who runs the kitchen for us, is getting ready for school for the 2 days left in the week, and then all of next week she'll have enough food to feed everybody. So we try to do the best we can buying local. If we get a specialized grant, which we've had through the United Way, we will buy everything from the Butcher Block, Big Y, and the local farms to package everything to send home with families. So we do our best.
And talking about that little studio that Pete Cole set up,
yep.
Are you training kids to do what you and I do as a career?
Absolutely. There's some kids in there recording their own. They're doing podcasts. They're on YouTube. There's all sorts of things that are going on, and it's a busy place. It's another one of those ones that people are fascinated by it, and they want to learn more about it.
Yeah, because there's so many young people that are coming up the ranks that want to learn broadcasting, and, podcasting, and journalism.
Yep, and that's what it is. It's not just what we're doing now, but it's what Pete's doing also. They're sitting behind the board and learning how to produce a show also, so they get a taste of everything that goes on in some kind of broadcast.
And if they want to pursue it as a career, they're getting a good starting point at the Boys and Girls Club.
Absolutely.
You're probably outside of here at Westfield Technical Academy, where we have this great studio that some of the kids utilize. You're, I guess, the only other game in town where people can learn.
As far as I know, I think you're absolutely right. For that, I mean, there's 4 mics on ours, and there's a board, and there's cameras, so there's everything that they need. And like the way Pete hooked it up, like I said, we could go live on Channel 15, like you guys do. So it's all there for the taking, for the learning, for doing what they want to do.
I'm thinking we should bring one of our shows to tape there with some of your kids.
Absolutely. Absolutely. We'll get Charisse, who runs the after-school program, the license program, and Kelly, and we can do the whole thing.
We could do a fun thing. We've been taking the show out on the road. We went in the spring to Barnes and did a show with the aviation students from Westfield Technical Academy.
Great program.
And Stefan Zaporowski.
Well, we could do the high school musical kids. I mean, we could tie it all into to Mark Auerbach here, and you could talk to all the performers too.
Well, I love talking to performers, and especially young performers, and why they do it. So that's a plan.
There you go. Let me know. We could set that up. I'll get Dev, who runs that whole drama program. We'll do the whole thing.
I wonder if any of those kids sitting behind the mic you've had a radio career. I have one. I wonder if they'll ever be the people to follow us in the industry.
I hope so. I started when I was in middle school. I started with my dad calling high school football games. And so I did it for a long, long time, but I hope that there's somebody out there that can give it a run. It's a different business than when we first started.
It sure is. We'll talk about that more when
yep.
we come back, but we are going to acknowledge the underwriters that make On the Mark and other programming here available to you either on Westfield Community Programming, 89.5 FM WSKB, Agawam Media, or Southwick Community Television. Peter Coles is our chief engineer. I'm Mark Auerbach, and we'll return after these announcements.
Underwriting for Community Radio on WSKB is brought to you in part by Rockies. Over 30 convenient locations throughout Massachusetts, Rhode Island, New Hampshire, Connecticut, and Florida. One of the nation's largest ACE dealers. Expertise and great product selection in paint, hardware, lawn and garden. That's Rockies. Rock solid service since 1926. On the web at Rockies.com. Support for the community programming of WSKB is provided by the Dunkin' Donut Shops of Westfield and the Sardinia family. It's nice to know that even as the world changes, Dunkin' Coffee remains the same at 7 convenient locations throughout Westfield.
Listen to me, Michael Buster McMahon, Mondays 8 to 10 a.m. to learn the stories behind your favorite songs. Or don't. I'm not the boss of you.
Community Radio 89.5 WSKB.
Live from Studio 120 at Westfield Technical Academy, this is WCPC Channel 15 and 89.5 FM WSKB Westfield.
Welcome back to On the Mark, everyone. I'm Mark Auerbach. Peter Coles is our chief engineer. If you missed a part of today's program or you want to watch it again or share it with friends, it's archived on WSKB Community Radio's YouTube page. My guest this half hour is Bo Sullivan, frequent guest on programs here at Westfield Community Programming. He's the director of the Boys and Girls Club of Greater Westfield. He's an old radio guy like myself.
Have I qualified as that now? I'm an old radio guy. I like that.
I mean,
I don't mind that.
New radio guys are computers that program music.
Yeah, it's true.
Right? We're kind of the last of a generation, maybe, of...
I like to say when radio was fun.
Yeah, it's
I really
still
do.
fun. But now that the world of podcasting has come into being and anybody can be on the air, it's a little different world.
Yeah, it is. It is. From when I started back in, when I graduated college, so 1989, just down the street here at WNNZ with Kurt and Seal, it's a completely. I had carts, and turntables. We're actually playing records.
Yeah, I did an arts program for Kurt and Seal.
Yeah.
In I guess it would be the late '80s.
Yeah.
Because I was at WSPR before that with Michael Harrison.
Oh yeah.
Doing news and music, and it was a different time.
It was a different time, and I hate saying it, and I hate when my kids say it to me. But back in the day, I just think it was more fun. I really do. We got involved. We got outside. We got to meet people. You got to go to do events. Take the show on the road or something like that. But I don't know. They just don't seem to do that as much anymore.
Pete Coles and I have done it with ArtsBeat. This summer we went to the Mahawi Theater in Great Barrington and shot a couple of shows, and we did some at Chester Theater.
Yep.
And then, as I said, for this particular program, we went out to Barnes and filmed 3 shows.
Yeah.
I used to do it all the time. I remember working for WSPR and having a booth in the Massachusetts building of the Big E and morning anchoring every morning from the Big E for 12 days.
I remember doing it too. We got up with the cows, and you knew the security guard to let you in the building or on the grounds. And we used to do the morning show from there.
And, I would be interviewing people that from the world of country music that I knew nothing about. The only one I remember interviewing was Tom Wopat because he had been on the Dukes of Hazzard, which I had seen. But I just found, one day I'm standing in the middle of Robinson's Racing Pigs doing a stand-up and, interviewing a politician because it was always election season or talking to somebody who grew Maine potatoes and things like that. We don't have this opportunity to do that anymore
Right.
in this world. But on the other hand, with Zoom and great technology, I can interview people from all over the world.
Right, and that is one thing that we don't do. I mean, phones were fine, but the technology today, you wouldn't even know the person's in Europe or something like that, and because it sounds so great. But yeah, you can't beat the Joey Chitwood Thrill Show when I was sitting there and they were practicing. Oh my God, they were the loudest people around, and it was crazy, but it was fun.
Yeah, well, you and me and Pete Coles grew up in this industry, and there are other people that we knew in the industry that are still sort of doing it.
Oh yeah,
And we do it because it's a great place to be.
it is, and it's fun.
It is fun.
I never worked. Everybody always said, "How do you get up at 3 o'clock in the morning?" I said, "I wouldn't do it if I didn't enjoy it."
Yeah,
Because it was crazy.
I got up when I was at WFCR,
Yeah.
and I was mostly behind the scenes in NPR world, but I did anchor some of the fund drives
Oh yeah,
for Morning Edition, and I'd have to get up at 3 o'clock in the morning to be in the studio in Amherst by 5.
Yeah.
I knew there were two places to get fresh
Coffee.
on the road up, and one was a mobile station on Columbus Avenue in Springfield, and the other was the 24-hour Dunkin' Donuts.
That's of course.
Route 9 in Hadley.
There
And
was always
it
one
was
of those.
like clockwork.
Yep.
I mean, every day.
When at the end of it, we got smart and bought our own coffee maker. So I was there early enough, made the pot of coffee, and that was usually pretty good. But yeah, we would pull up. There's a 24-hour Dunkin' Donuts in West Springfield too that I would stop at. I would just say, "Hey," and they knew it was me, and I'd pull around, and my coffee and newspaper at that point, because they would sell me a newspaper, was all ready waiting for me.
Yeah, because in order to do the morning news, you had to have a local copy of the Republican
Correct,
and
yeah.
maybe the Reminder
Yep.
and the Westfield News.
Yep, absolutely. And you got them all, and that was fine. And there was, Ron Russell back in the day had every newspaper in the world that he could get his hands on as right in.
The other thing is when we had to go out and do a remote, how different the technology was. I mean, I can recall having to cover a chlorine gas leak on the tracks in Springfield.
Yeah.
And I had to plug into somebody else's phone.
Yeah.
Like, I don't even remember the name of the restaurant that was on the corner to phone in a radio piece because we barely had working cell phones.
We did that when I was doing the sports show over at HYN.
Marty,
and
anyone?
Yeah, Marty, thank you. I was sitting doing a UMass basketball game with a couple guys, and everything was on the phone in front of you. You either called the station or the station called you. It actually rang during a basketball game. There's no way you would do a phone call nowadays to get on the air, but that's what it was.
Yeah, I remember particularly covering this one gas leak and going into this restaurant and phoning it in, phoning in the story and hoping they could get it over the air.
Correct.
On the landlines.
Yep.
And then we got cell phones and we could do it. Now I can Zoom from my living room. I could.
Oh yeah.
I a few years ago had lunch with a friend at Pinto's in West Springfield, and a radio colleague of mine came in and decided to interview this guy, whips out a smartphone, and in the middle of lunch does an interview and filters it out, and he runs it on his network a couple of days later. You would never know that we were sitting live in a restaurant doing
It's crazy.
Radio.
It's crazy. The phone you carry around in your pocket can get you through everything.
Well, we should probably talk a little more about the Boys and Girls.
I know. We're kind of reminiscing here.
We could spend hours talking
Yes, we
about
could.
our lives in radio. But
Yep.
what are the challenges that the Boys and Girls Club of Westfield will experience in this upcoming year? What be it funding, accessibility, visibility?
The checklist, I would say D, all of the above. Everything that you go into running an organization happen down at the club too. Attendance is always, we could always use more kids. That's fine. We do have a limit, but very rarely every day do we have a limit of 300 kids that are just in the license, not counting the teen center, the teens that are also in the building. So there's always that. There's always people understanding, again, and I hate to harp on it, but understand what goes on in the building. There's something there for everybody. Sometimes it's the Boys and Girls Club, that's not for me. Well, you don't know if it's for you because it's not what it was when you were a kid. So bring your kid down and see what it's like. They may love it, they may not, and that's fine. But give us a chance to tell them that, hey, they are going to love it. And by the way, it'll work with your schedule, and we'll make sure that they're just not sitting there doing nothing. We're gonna entertain them, but we're also going to educate them. Everything that we do in that building is geared towards educating the students, just to carry on the school day, but not in a school setting. You're not going to be sitting at a desk doing everything, but things that you're going to do, you're going to like to do, but it's all part of your education that you're carrying on through the Westfield Public Schools too, or St. Mary's or whoever. People
think that you have to pay to go.
Yeah.
I know some of your programs are subsidized, but what does the membership entail?
The teen membership, so everybody 13 and over is $50 a year. So, you guys do the math. And we do have some that say, well, we'll work with them. We don't tell people they can't come. Okay, so we'll figure something out. With the licensed, some of them get vouchers. A majority of the kids that are in the program get a voucher, so they may get a full voucher and there's no payment whatsoever. They may have some type of parent fee, but it's usually very minimal. It's a couple bucks a week. There may be somewhere $25 a week, maybe as much as $50. Again, that's another one that we can sit and talk with people. If you want to come to the club, we'll make sure that it happens. We don't turn kids away.
And how can people learn about the programs and services and the admission?
The best way to do it, to start with it, is to go to the website. It lists everything by category, by grades, actually, also. So bgcwestfield.org is your best first step. And then if there's more questions, if somebody has a question on any of the programs, call the club, and we'll make sure you're talking to the person either that's in charge of that program or somebody who's involved with the program. So don't sit there and say you don't know what goes on in the club, because it's very easy. We would love to bring you down and show you what goes on.
For people that are new to Westfield or in the surrounding area, where is the club?
The club is situated right between the middle school and right behind the Amelia Park ice rink.
Okay, so it's in downtown Westfield.
Downtown Westfield.
And if a child goes to elementary school, or how do they get there after school?
The school bus. We have a deal with, we are a stop for a certain number of elementary schools that will drop them right at the club. If they come before, because we do before school and after school. So if you come to the before school program, we will bus you to your school on time. If you're just coming for the after school, some of the students will be picked up by our own bus and bus driver. If not, the Westfield Public School buses will drop them right at our door.
Well, Bo Sullivan, it's always great to have you
I love
on.
doing this show, Mark. We got to do this more.
We have to do this. As you said, we have to do this more often, and we have to talk with your kids doing High School Musical Junior.
You really should. So let's October time when everybody's got their lines and everything, and the part has been given to the kids that are going to play a certain part. I would love to have you come down.
Maybe the spring show will be that the great broadcast of 1944. There's some Broadway show of that. Maybe there's a junior edition.
Maybe
somebody can play Junior Mark and Junior Bo. And that wraps up this edition of On the Mark TV and Radio. Peter Coles has been our chief engineer. We will see you next week.
When I think of home, I think of a place where there's love overflowing. I wish I was home, I wish I was back there with the things I've been knowing. When that makes the tall grass bend into leaning, suddenly the that fall have a meaning, sprinkling the sea makes it all